Well, well, well.
Oh, you poor darling. Oh, I just had to respond to your cry for help.
Oh, Tiffany Hill, you're a sight for sore eyes.
Oh, and you, poor Edward, you must be a wreck, darling. How you must be suffering over the loss of your son.
Yes, it was an ordeal, yes.
Oh, well, I read about Alan in the plane crash. I can't believe it. I mean, being taken from us at the prime of his life. He was so young and talented and rich.
Yes, terrible tragedy. We're all just overwhelmed with grief.
Oh, well, I agree with you wholeheartedly, my darling. I mean, on the way over from the Concorde, I could barely finish my champagne. I was sobbing so hard.
Well, I know Alan would appreciate your coming.
Oh, well, I dropped everything as soon as my agent gave me the news.
Yes, well, I'm grateful you could get away. You know, you are just the medicine I need for this awful period of my life.
Oh, well, I must apologize for just dropping in like this, but your secretary wasn't at her desk when I arrived. Is she ill?
Ill? Well, you know, she's had a bad cold for a couple of weeks. But let's not talk about my problems. I want to hear all about you. Now, you tell me everything that you've been doing since you left Port Charles.
Oh, well, how much time have you got, darling?
Well, just gloss over the highlights for me.
Oh, well, there have been so many. It seems like I've just been riding a whirlwind of romance and adventure since I left here.
Well, you know, Port Charles can't compare with Europe.
Oh, darling, the best that money has to offer here, I mean, would not even get you a second glance on the Riviera. Well, Luigi, that's my good friend, the Count. Luigi says that living well simply isn't the best revenge. It's the only alternative. Oh, we were on the island. We were on his yacht when we heard about Alan. Oh, it was anchored someplace out in a little darling island off the Mediterranean. Can you believe that he wanted to buy it for me?
No, I certainly can't.
Oh, well, I refused, of course. I mean, the jewels were quite enough. Although I can't really understand how he got the museum to part with them.
Well, this Count sounds like quite a character.
Well, Luigi has his moments. Oh, but I tell you, I was actually just using him to get over my guilt about Ramon.
Ramon?
The Spanish nobleman. Don Ramon Delgado. He owns Madrid or something. Oh, it broke my heart, Edward, to have to walk out of that chalet in Gstaad. But he just wouldn't take no for an answer.
Oh? What, may I ask, was the question?
Well, he wanted me to marry him. Oh. But living in a castle. It's pleasant, perhaps, I suppose, but I wouldn't know what to do with all of those servants, you know.
Well, I guess you haven't had too much time for your acting career, huh?
Oh, but of course, darling. I couldn't live without my art.
Oh, yes. Invasion of the Alien Vampires, huh?
That was ages ago.
I'm sorry, darling. I'm just not much of a film buff.
Oh, then you must have missed my award-winning performances in several recent masterpieces of the French cinema. There's a London theatrical director who wants me to star in his next production, stage production of the last one he did. Oh, you know, when it goes to Broadway, of course.
Oh, well, this calls for a little toast.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, my dear.
Yes.
And, forgive me, Tiffany, but, you know, you look almost naked without all your jewelry. Whatever happened to him?
Well, Edward, I'm stunned that you would even ask. I'm in mourning for Alan. I mean, can't you tell by the dress, the color of it? I mean, I would never be so tacky as to wear diamonds at a time like this.
No, of course not. Well, here we are. Now, here's to your many European successes and to your homecoming. Welcome back, Tiffany.
Thank you, darling. It's divine to be here. But enough about me, darling. You look wonderful. Yes. This fabulous wealth has always set with you.
Well, it beats the alternative.
So things are going very well for you.
Oh, my word, yes, of course. Couldn't be better. Everything I touch seems to turn to gold. You know, it gets so boring making money.
Yes, well, I do prefer spending it myself.
Well, you know, I'd give it away in a second if I could think of anything that I enjoy doing better. But, I don't know, making fortunes is such a bore. These days, every other person you meet is rich. So there's certainly no trick to...
Excuse me, Mr. Quartermain.
Yeah, what is it, Marty?
The men are here to repossess your office furniture.
Repossess? As in something that happens to poor people?
Will you ask them to come back later? My word, can't you see I'm in conference?
Well, I noticed there was a lot of dust around here, like this place hadn't been dusted in days.
They're pretty determined, Mr. Quartermain. I don't know how long I can keep them out.
Oh, now, let's see, where were we?
I believe you were just going to tell me what's going on around here, Edward. I mean, your message said that if I came to Port Charles, that I would be rewarded handsomely. But you don't look like you can afford to offer me anything except maybe a last glass of champagne.
Yes, well, obviously, things aren't going as well for you as you would like people to think either, Tiffany. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Well, as a matter of fact, I have had some financial reverses. You might say I'm broke.
Broke? Edward Quartermain. How?
Well, by not taking in as much as I've spent. How else? But look, Tiffany, the point is...
The point is that I pawned my last emerald to get here. Honestly and truly, if you think a reward for services rendered is going to be some little peck on the cheek...
Now, Tiffany, you will be rewarded handsomely, just as I promised. If you will promise to help me as I asked.
Doing what?
Bring my son back from the dead. Now, come sit down. Let's have some more champagne, and I'll tell you all about it. Oh, my dear.